So my name is Michelle Cavalcanti. I work in alumni relations, and I work on identifying and creating resources for our alumni in our greater University of Rochester community for professional development resources, career, and anything that falls under those categories. So today's webinar is called Holistic Lens to Career Transition and Job Presentation. And we're going to have Cassandra, who's going to walk us through a really interesting program. And I'm not going to talk too much about Cassandra because I feel like so much of what she's going to talk about is her own journey and a lot of what she's learned along the way. But I wanted to mention first that my colleague also here today, Becky Pacone, she's also with us, and she will be helping with any situation that may need a little assistance on the tech side. We also have obviously Melanie here doing our ASL interpretation, and we also have closed caption that you'll find below in the navigation bar. During this presentation, if you have questions that you'd like to ask Cassandra after her presentation, you can send them to me in a private chat under my name, Michelle Cavalcanti, and then we will ask whether you'd like to ask the question yourself or if you want me to ask the question for you. So just indicate that also when you send a question in. Okay, so I think I've covered all of the housekeeping. I'm going to introduce now Cassandra Herbert, who has graduated from the School of Nursing class of 1995. And that's really all I'm going to say about her, other than she takes a holistic approach to her coaching techniques. She does life coaching, and she'll be really just diving in and giving us a lot of new information. If this is new to you, please just keep your mind open, because I think that there's going to be a lot of really useful information in this presentation. I'm so excited to listen myself. So I will not take any more time away from Cassandra. Cassandra, welcome. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. And thank you for everyone joining, whether you're here live or listening to the replay. And I am going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay. All right. So yes, like Michelle said, I'm going to be talking about a holistic lens to career transition and job searches. So what will you learn today? Well, you'll discover what the 7 systems of health are and how they impact your career, as well as if you're job searching. You'll also identify what roadblocks you might be experiencing physically, mentally, and spiritually. And you'll actually can determine what lifestyle activities can nourish each system and identifying an affirmation that can balance your systems. Before I begin, I always like to start my presentations with a little pause, breathe, reflect, because I know that all of us are so busy, so something might have happened a few minutes before getting on this webinar, or an hour before, or earlier this morning. And so let's just all settle in, take a deep breath through your nose, out through your mouth, relaxing your shoulders, just letting go of what's no longer serving you in this moment. And then just setting your intention for what you're hoping to receive during this presentation. Just taking a moment. And maybe you're like, I'm not sure, it just seemed interesting, I wanted to join. Or maybe you have a clear intention of what you wanted to receive. Just being with that for a few moments. All right. And now we will wiggle our toes and our fingers and just come back to the present. Hopefully that was beneficial for you. If it wasn't, it was for me. I always do that because it helps to settle me before I do a presentation. So part of me always doing that is a bit selfish, because It helps for me to settle, but I also do that with a lot of my clients who I work with, is just before we even start working together or meeting with one another for a session, just settling in, focusing, getting into that heart center and letting go of what's not serving us. And that helps us to think clearly. And that's going to help you if you are, job searching, if you are, doing some career transitions, just letting go of that noisy mind, which is so easy, that mind and all of that. So a little bit about me. I'm going to talk about myself as we go through the presentation, but I did want people to know that part of this presentation, like Michelle said, might be different. It won't be like those, like, do this, call this many places, or if you network and all of that. It's going to be more looking at it and looking at it from what might be blocking you. With COVID-19, we've had so many things that has shifted how we approach things, how we live life. And we've looked at, our careers and our job searches. For myself, I am, I graduated in 1995 from the University of Rochester with a BA in psychology and a BS in nursing. I have my master's in adult mental health, so I'm also a psychotherapist. But a lot of that is also my lifestyle, and what got me into life coaching and health and wellness coaching was what was going on with me. And I was like a busy superwoman, doing it all, not saying no, and just going and going and going, and was addicted to sugar. I'm telling you, when I became a nurse, 4 Reese's peanut butter cups and a Mountain Dew. And so, yes, and it wreaked havoc on my system and was causing chronic candida and brain fog and all this stuff. And I realized I needed to slow down and get intentional. And so this did not happen overnight. This was probably over 20 years, and I'm still learning and growing. So I'll be talking about some of that, but let me see my things. All right, so we're going to go to the next slide. So as we think about, career changes, and I really looked this up to see what is actually going on in our nation. And what they showed is that, people changed. 30% of the US workforce changed or lost their job in 2020. And like I said, the pandemic, people either lost their jobs or had decided, you know what, this job is no longer for me. I don't want to do this anymore. Or they really realized what was important. They also said that, think about how many hours we spend at work. This is unbelievable. 100,000 hours at work throughout our lifetime. 100,000 hours throughout our work. That's a lot of hours. I mean, they say, we spend 1/3 of our life working. So with that, we want to get intentional with that. What is it that we want to do? And I know it's not always so luxurious that we can go and be like, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to do the career or the job of my dreams. That might be not possible. But then how can we, in our current job or finding a job that we're able to do that, or at least have a life of our dreams, even though we might not be doing our job of our dreams. So you can read these, and you all will get the PowerPoint slides. So I just wanted to share some of these. And I also wanted to say that they said 58% of the people surveyed by Indeed said they would be willing to take a pay cut to make a major career change. So it's not about the money. It's really about doing what you feel, is in alignment with who you are and what brings you joy. And also about relationships. People, many times they say people will change jobs because of the toxic environment of the relationship. I'm also a nurse manager, so I recognize that it's so important that managers and bosses and supervisors are there and supporting their employees. And we see that more even with the COVID. So here are some questions to ponder as we go through this presentation. What do you want when it comes to your career? Really thinking about that. Like, what is it that you want? What does that look like? And not kind of like the, okay, I want this, I want to be the CEO, or I want to be a nurse manager, or I want to be this, but really, what does that look like? Like, what does a day in the life working at a job or working for yourself look like? What blocks you in job searching, or what blocks you from transitioning to another career? And are these mental, emotional, or spiritual roadblocks? So you might be saying, well, what are these 7 health systems of health? Now, this is by Dr. Deanna Minnick, and I have her website here. And like I said, you will get these PowerPoints. But the 7 systems of health were developed by Dr. Deanna Minnick, and they're informed by science, combining healing traditions of medicine, spirituality, and yoga. And each system is based on an endocrine gland moving from the base of your spine to the crown of your head. And each one represents a nexus of anatomy, physical function, and biochemistry, as well as a group of emotions, thoughts, and issues. It basically integrates your body, mind, and emotions. Hence why this is a holistic lens to career transitions and job searches. So this system gives you a way to focus our thoughts about different issues through nutrition, lifestyle changes, and other things that we will be talking about. So there's 7 systems. The first is the root system. So the root system, I told you about the anatomy. So I'm going to go through kind of what the systems are and the imbalances pretty fast so that we can get into the juice of what is it you can do if you find that one of these systems you feel out of balance. So as we're listening to this, think about, okay, where is this out of balance? Where is it out of balance in, the current job or my career? Is it out of balance is how I'm going about my job searching or my transition in my career? You can also look at it as in any aspect of your life. Because, right, how we do one thing is how we do everything. I found that out with myself, when I was that on-the-go woman and my root system was totally out of balance, it's because I was going. And I'll talk about the imbalances. But as you can see, it's like the anatomy, adrenal glands, that fight or flight, where we're like feeling stress. And that's happened with COVID-19, right? We are still in it. Going on 2 years, it'll be 2 years in March, and we are like, there's still that kind of stress mode of how long is this going to last, and that resilience and all of that, and that impacts your immune system. And as you can see, fight or flight, the color, all of these correspond with a color, so it's red, and the element is earth, and you'll find out why that's important as we go through how you can balance it. So the imbalances is feeling overwhelmed and stressed when it comes to job searching or transition. So think about that. Are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you feeling stressed? Are you feeling like I need to leave this job, but I can't? Or I don't know what to do or how to do it, or the kind of job I want isn't out there? Are you feeling scattered and not grounded? Are you worried about money? This system really is based on like your money and your money stories. And I will tell you, my money stories, even though I've been a nurse for years, was also like a scarcity mindset, not enough. And so that really forced that superwoman syndrome. I had to have all these different hustles and all of this stuff because it always just did not feel like enough. Maybe you have trouble settling down in a career. Maybe you're changing them, and that could be a sign of an imbalance in your root system. Difficulty adapting to change, which probably over the last 2 years, you've learned to do that just because we've all had to. Or maybe you're just feeling stuck. We think about that earth energy, you're stuck and you're feeling like, this is just depleting me. It's not bringing me joy. So this could be that root system. Flow system. So the flow system is your bladder, not hops, it's actually hips. So that is a typo, your hips, your kidneys. This is about creativity, emotions, relationships, sexuality, and pleasure. The color is orange and water. So what would be imbalances? Difficulty going with the flow. Or do you not consider yourself a creative person? Okay, let me tell you. For years, my story was I did not consider myself a creative person. You know why? Because I didn't feel artistic. Like, I still draw, if I'm drawing a person, it's still got to be the round face with the stick figures, you know, because that's as creative as I can get. But I'm going to tell you, when you change your story, you become more creative. I love to cook. I'm very creative with meals. I love to you know, just put visions into concepts, you know, into ideals. So that is what I do, like at work or with my clients. Well, that's creative. Once I started changing that story, actually my stick figures actually look a little more creative. So other thing is have new ideals, but do not put them to action, or you take life too seriously. Like one of the things, well, we'll talk about that is, you know, are you laughing? Are you having fun with your job searches and with your career transitions? The other is the fire system. So as you can see, that's gallbladder, liver, pancreas. This is about personal power, boundaries, energy, courage, and self-esteem. The color is yellow. The element is fire. So this is another one. This was out of balance for me because, like I said, I was a sugaraholic. This is about our energy. You know, fire, what's giving us energy? For me, I was depleted or didn't have enough sweetness in my life because I was eating all that sugar, even though actually that was that candida wanting more sugar. So I kept feeding it. But it's that should-do list. You know, I still have a to-do list, but it's less of should do. You know, maybe there's certain ways that you say, I must accomplish this in my career. This is what I need to do. Those are okay if that's really in alignment with your heart and what you really do, but not coming from a different place. Have difficulty setting boundaries or saying no, you know? And this is where you feel burned out. Remember, this element is fire. So this is burned out. And we can see many people realize, during COVID, it has taught us like, this job is really burning me out. It's not that mutual concept of what I'm giving. Am I also receiving that back? I just want to put this in because this is also about stress. We're all really probably, and this was back, well, you can see 2019. So this was pre-COVID. I would be interested in seeing the updated statistics for stress. I just wanted to put like, show you like the 55% of Americans are stressed during the day. And in 2019, 94% of American workers report experiencing stress at their workplace. I am sure that number is up now, especially for healthcare workers. I work in a hospital, so I recognize that people are really stressed. But that this also causes other issues in your, you know, in your health, headaches and high blood pressure and heart disease and diabetes, all of those things. And it's really like, okay, am I managing my energy? Love system. So the love system, you can see the anatomy. This is feelings such as compassion, love, forgiveness, giving and receiving. The color is green, the element is air. So how do we know when this is out of balance? Well, we tend to overgive and have trouble receiving. That was me. I knew how to do it. In fact, I didn't like in school, especially in my master's program, working with a group, because I was usually the one who was going to do it all, and they were going to ride on my A. And so I wasn't happy with that. So I'd be like, I'll just do it. I remember telling a teacher, like, no, I will do the project myself. And I would complain that people weren't doing things, you know, for me, family members and everything. But what I realized, it was a control issue. If I did it, I knew it was going to be done a certain way and it was going to be done right. When I let that go, actually more people did things for me. It was like magic. People were doing things all the time. And it might not have been the way I did it, but I was more at ease, you know, and it felt better, you know, and it wasn't that stress. So this is also cares about everyone's feelings to the degree that impacts your own well-being, which may cause resentment and bitterness. And this could be happening at your job, or maybe as you're doing your job searches, are there people who could help you? Or maybe it's getting that mentor as you're going through and they could help you do that with the career transitions. Truth system. So the truth system, mouth, throat, ears, it's about communication. Well, of course, it involves that mouth. Authenticity, honesty, and self-expression. The color is bright blue. The element is ether and sound. Imbalances tends to be opinionated and outspoken, claims your truth as the truth, has a difficulty expressing yourself, because this is also about your expression. So you could be at a job, or you could be going to a job interview, or maybe you're negotiating like your worth and everything. Are you able to speak that? Are you able to share that? Many times we think, oh no, I remember even, I'll tell you, even in my, so I was a bedside nurse for 18 years, 18 years working nights. I didn't want management. Trust me, that was not on my to-do list at all. That was not my career goal. No, no, no. And people kept saying, do it, do it. I was like, what don't you understand? No. Anyway, when I got the position, what they quoted me as my starting salary, I was like, no. And I did my research, everything. And then I came back and they were like, well, we usually don't change stuff, or we don't look at this. It is what, you know, it is. And I was like, no, I want you to go to the compensation people and discuss it, because I felt like even I would take the job, even if they kept it that way, but I wanted them to know that I wasn't afraid to ask what I thought I was worth. Did I get it? No. But actually, 2 years later, I'm actually above of what I asked as my top range. So it can happen, but it was just being able to know that and being able to speak that. And when we're not able to, you know, then that could be an imbalance in our truth system. Insight system, eyes, eyebrows, brain. This is about intuition, reflection. Intentions, we set those at the beginning. This affects our mood balance, sleep, thought. The color is indigo. The element is light. So insight is always thinking about your should-do list. Remember, we were in the fire system. It was always doing that should-do list. This is always thinking about it, or your future, or you can't relax. You can't meditate. I was one of those people. I was like, meditating for the birds. Who does that? My mind can't slow down. And when I was in my postmaster's,
sometimes you worry and you can get in your head and sort of.
And when I was in my postmaster's for holistic nursing, they wanted us to choose a project on health and wellness, and I had got my eating all situated. So I thought, meditation. I will focus on researching about meditation, because I knew that if I could do that, then I could do anything. And I actually did that and started meditating. And now I'm a regular meditator. And it's not about that you won't have thoughts. It's when you have those thoughts that you don't attach to them and you bring them back to your breath. Trusting your intuition. Do you even have trouble imagining the possibilities of your dream job or career, or how your day looks? The last system, spirit system, governing spirituality, unity, and connection with the divine. This is about circadian rhythms. The color is violet. Element is thought. Imbalances, don't know what your purpose is, or feel like you don't have one. Maybe a sense of faith and connection with God fluctuates. Maybe you feel like you have the world on your shoulders. You've got to do it all, you know, and you just don't trust that God has your back, or spirit has your back, or the universe has your back, or whatever you resonate with. All right, so the next is, what can you do? What can you do? This was supposed to come before the other slide. So what can you do? So now we're going to get into the juice of it. What can you do? Wow. The root system, right? We talked about red. So one of the things is supporting your immune system. It's going to be difficulty if you're always getting sick and you're always getting having colds and things, if because of your immune system. So and that's going to happen if you're stressed. So it's about eating red foods like pomegranates and cranberries and red peppers, rich in vitamin C, citrus fruits, then grounding vegetables. Grounding vegetables energetically, think about it, they're in the earth. What did we talk about? Grounding. So eating root vegetables, sweet potatoes, carrots, beets. And guess what? They're in season in the winter. Nature's amazing. This is what is in season. This is what is in abundance. And isn't it interesting? Because many of our ancestors were probably like stressed during this time, thinking, did they harvest enough to have for the winter? Root herbs such as licorice, which is really good for your adrenals, burdock root, dandelion root, and medicinal mushrooms. But anytime you're taking any type of herbs, please do check with your physician or provider before doing that, and incorporating in adaptogen herbs, as well as eating red foods. So here you go. Lifestyle. So here are some nuts and bolts that you can do that might be different than what you thought you would be doing, but what family and culture traditions do you follow that may not be in line with who you are now? Maybe you took on a career or a job that you did because your family said, this is what you do. This is how you do that, and it's not what isn't aligned with you right now. And it's causing you some stress. And I know that's not so easy to change and everything, but it's just being aware of that, because the awareness can help things shift. The awareness can bring about opportunities. Other thing is, of course, looking at what brings you stress. Look at in your job now, what's bringing me stress? What are things that I'm doing that I just don't like? What are things that I'm doing in my life that I just don't like? And it's really causing me stress. So I would encourage you to jot those down. Just one day, jot it down, and then look at ways. Make your de-stress list. Make your distress list. In fact, if people want to say what they do to distress and put that in the chat, I'd be lovely to see that or share. Or if you do something like really unique and you find that really distresses you, go ahead and put it in the chat. That would be great. This is the other thing, movement, dancing barefoot. The root system also relates to like your ancestors. So maybe doing a dance that's related to your ethnic origin. Yoga pose, such as a tree pose or mountain pose. If any of you have taken yoga, which I'd love to know, there's that tree pose, and you're solid. And then an affirmation. So I want all of you to say this with me. I'm going to say it, and I want you to say it so that you can feel it. Okay, I am grounded. I trust in the process of life. I am grounded. I trust in the process of life. And that is something you can say if you find that your root system is out of balance. And let me see. All right, so I was just gonna, yes, take a walk with my dog, walking in nature. Oh yes, I love that, all of that. It's a test of balance, that tree pose. Yes, that is so true. I agree. Yes, thank you all for sharing that. Because sometimes it's just, sharing, walk tall as trees, live strong as the mountains, be gentle as the spring winds, keep the warmth of the summer sun in your heart, and the Great Spirit will always be with you. And that's a Native American proverb. So now we're on to the flow system. Remember, that was out of balance, creativity, being with the flow, all of that. Drinking water, dehydration. Dehydration is going to affect your brain. Our brain is like 70% water, and so how am I going to think what I need to do if I'm dehydrated? Eating healthy fats such as coconut, olive oil, olives, and avocado, tropical fruits, enjoy red, orange fruits, and incorporating nuts and seeds. Nuts and seeds, you think about, so the flow system is also where our reproductive system is. That is the start of life. But that's whatever you're birthing into the world. So it might be that you're like, I want to be an entrepreneur, or I'm birthing a new career into the world. This means tap into that flow system. The other thing, do something creative that brings you joy. And even if you don't think you're creative, you are. All of us are creative. I'm telling you, it could just be cooking. It could be the way you take care of your kids. It could be what you're doing at your work. All of us are creative, even if we're not even if we're not like what they would call artists. I can't sing either, but I think I can, so I do. Or dancing, any of that. This is about pleasure. What smells do you enjoy? What foods make your taste buds dance? What aromas do you enjoy? These are things that can really get you into what brings you pleasure, what ignites creativity, and again, allow space for play each day. Make your job search creative. Make it playful. Make the career transition playful. When you start bringing in these energies, you will feel more alive and more excited and more creative. And it won't be that like kind of drudgery of like, oh, I need to do this or I have to do this, Or look at ways, if you can't do that and you have to stay at your current job, look at ways you can make it more creative. Those are the dances, and then the affirmation altogether. I am creative, passionate, and inspired. I would love to know what people like, what foods make your taste buds dance, what sounds, what aromas. I'm a frankincense, myrrh, citrus. I love aromas, lavender, all of it. Yeah, you can put it in the chat. And then the fire system. Fire system, choose foods that give you sustained energy, such as complex carbohydrates. Because I told you about my story, right? 4 Reese's peanut butter cups. One time I ate 6, what did I eat? 6, it wasn't Dunkin' Donuts, it's the other one, and I can't even think, all in like a day, 6 donuts. I mean, I was really addicted to sugar and it didn't sustain me. I felt fatigued. I felt tired, and I gave that up. I do minimum sugar. I read my labels and make sure that, what I'm eating is giving me sustained energy and not that quick fix. Fiber. This is about your intestines, letting go of what no longer serves you. Warming herbs, which is great during this time of year, ginger, cinnamon, cardamom, black pepper, cayenne, warming herbs, yellow colored foods, and legumes. Let's see. Lavender and smells of wooded fire stove. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Love that. Orange and mint to give me energy in the kitchen. Anything ginger and garlic. Yes. So this is another thing, like I was saying, make a list of what gives you energy and what takes it away. Just knowing that can help you as you're looking for a job, because like I said, maybe that's not your forte of even how to do that. So you might need to, hire a business coach or a life coach or have a mentor, who can help you navigate that, because it's taking too much of your time and energy. But also look at in your current job, like what might be giving you energy and what might not be taking it away, and if so, can you delegate that? Did you have the ability? Or maybe you can talk to your supervisor or your manager or your boss and look at things that, really light you up, that give you energy that you can actually incorporate in. Practicing saying no to opportunities that you don't have time or resources for. It's okay. And guess what? You don't have to explain. See, my thing was, if I said no, I felt bad, I felt guilty, then I had to explain it, oh, but no is a complete sentence. You will feel better. And the more you practice that, the better it gets. And that could even be like, you know what? I'm really not feeling that, you know, you could be going on a job interview and you could notice, take a deep breath, notice how you're feeling. Do you, when the person is interviewing you, or if you go and do a share day or something, just notice, like, if you start feeling it in your fire system, you're getting that gut reaction that, oh, this isn't for me. It's just not. Listen to that. It's okay. It's okay. Balance your doing with your being. I was a doer, still a doer, but I've learned to be. Then there's some movements and some yoga poses, warrior one. If you're a yoga person, you know you're warrior one. And then here's an affirmation. I am worthy, strong, courageous, and always enough. Sometimes we take on positions, jobs, careers, because we don't feel enough and we're trying to prove ourselves, but it's not really in alignment of who we are. So always remember that you are enough. All right. It's your decisions and not your conditions that determine your destiny. All right, so moving right along, I am going to, you can read this for the love system for the foods. It's all about vegetables, green vegetables. Just eat lots of those. And they're so rich in minerals and vitamins. And then expand into your health and honor your emotions by engaging in self-care. Are we taking care of ourselves? Because if I'm not taking care of myself, it goes back to that whole thing, then I am not honoring myself. Then it causes me not to make certain decisions. I'm not as clear. If I have to fuel up myself, it's like on the airplane, right? You have to put on the mask before putting it on, you know, other people. So the oxygen. I am full of love, joy, and gratitude. And this is also being open to receive help. I know it's hard. I know for the longest, nope, I was that superwoman. I can do it. Think about Superwoman. She never asked for help. She would, you know, she would get on her uniform just by turning, you know, so be okay with asking for help. It's okay. It's okay as you're doing this. If there's things you don't know, as you're navigating a career transition, you know, ask for that help, you know, or in the job searching. Every kind of love is love, but self-love is supreme among them. And that's an African proverb. True system. This is all about liquid. So soups and stews and smoothies and teas and sea plants like kelp and nori and dulce, adding that. Drinking herbal teas, and herbal teas are a good way to get in herbs and to boost your immune system. And then practice truly listening to others. And then explore all the ways you express yourself and see how this quality comes through with respect of your career desires and choices. Really being still with that and looking and seeing, you know what? How is it I want to express myself? How is it I want to show up in my world? Is that happening in my current career? As I'm navigating job searches, let me look. Will this allow me to do that? And again, sometimes this is a luxury, but being clear with it will help you get clear with where you're navigating on your job searches and in your career transitions. Create a dance or movie that expresses you. Just move. And then this is one. I remain true to myself in all I say and do. The insight system, lots of herbs, because that's all about those herbs that, you know, really ginger, even garlic would be on this one too, cumin. Eat more blue purple foods, which people don't recognize, like purple cabbage and purple grapes and blackberries and blueberries. Guess what? This is your time. You can actually enjoy chocolate during this. And try herbs that relax and restore your nervous system. And that could be like ashwagandha or milky oats and lemon balm, different things like that. Because a lot of times our nervous system is fried. No, mine is. And so I usually will take lemon balm tincture or milky oats before I go to bed at night, just to relax my nervous system. It will enhance your sleep and then help you to have a better day. So here's one: meditate each day for at least, I'll even say 2 minutes. It's really just silence. Silence. Set your intention for the day and visualize what your ideal work day looks like. Just look at like how that would look. What does your ideal career look like? Your ideal job? And again, it doesn't mean, this is not like the whole thing of like the dream job or everything, but it's kind of like my day. I want to be doing this. I want to be more involved in group projects, or I want to be less involved in group projects, or I want to do more computer work, or I want to be more creative, and really visualizing that. And that's going to help when you're job searching, because I will tell you, what you focus on expands. And when you get clear with what you want to focus on, you'll start seeing opportunities pop up. And I know this might say like really like, try it. Just try it. Hey, what's the worst thing that can happen? It doesn't happen? Well, that's okay. It wasn't happening, but maybe it will. The affirmation: I'm insightful, intuitive, and imaginative. And lately, where so many of us are at the computer, it is so important to take, reduce eye strain and do eye exercises. And so I'm curious, whoever meditates, just put me in the chat, me. I'm curious how many people actually meditate. So we're getting down to our last system, the spirit system. This is all about organic foods when possible. You know, a lot of foods. So if you go to the ewg.org, that's a site that says what foods are that you really should eat that are organic, because they're highly sprayed, like apples and celery and spinach are highly sprayed with pesticides and herbicides. That's going to impact you over the long run. It's going to impact your liver, because your liver, our bodies are amazing, but it impacts your liver. It can impact your adrenals. It impacts the way you think. And it's over long haul, you know, but why not power up your body, set yourself up for your success? Do a cleanse in the spring and autumn, you know, and that is just, I say cleanse, not a detox. It's just like eliminating for maybe 3 or 4 days foods that you find are depleting your energy. Incorporate in white vegetables. And then to nourish your spirit system, go outside each morning and face the sun. I know it's cold. I'm in Maryland. I know we got snow and it was 16 degrees the other day. So make sure you're bundling up. And I know if you're in Rochester, it's cold there and snow. And then just look at what toxins are in your food, your emotions, your thoughts, and relationships. Change your story. Change your story around job searches. Change your story around transitions. Just change your stories. I mean, I used to think I wasn't a morning person. So here's the story for you. I wasn't. I worked nights, 18 years. I said, I can't get up and work, you know. I mean, I can't get up and early in the morning. Well, then I changed and I had this Monday through Friday job and as a nurse manager and everything. But this past year, I read The 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sherman, and he had this whole thing on getting up at 5 a.m. and doing like a power hour, exercising for 20 minutes, meditating or reflecting or journaling for at least 20 minutes, and then doing something that enhances your learning about your career or your business or whatever. 66 days. I did it. I changed the story. I did it. And now I wake up now all the time at 5 a.m. now, but because it's winter, and I also say go with the season. So I'm waking up at like 6, but I'm still doing my power hour. You change your stories, you change your life. You really do. And then, you know, mindful walking in nature. And I know some people said that, and I see some me's about I exercise and stuff. So great. And this is the affirmation for that. I am aligned with my purpose and truth. You know, just saying that. So I wanted time for questions and answers, or, you know, so here is the time. Kind of went through that fast. I know that's usually like an hour presentation, so it was very concentrated, but if people have questions.
We'll open it up to questions now. Thank you, Cassandra. So anybody that wants to ask a question, you can send it again to my to the private chat with my name, Michelle Cavalcanti. And then, or you can, and just let me know if you want me to ask the question, or you can ask the question to Cassandra directly. This was a lot of information to take in, and it's probably new for some of you, and maybe for others, it's not new. I learned a lot during this presentation, and we will be sharing the slides so you can reflect back on some of what Cassandra's talked about. So a couple of questions came in before the session, before this webinar. So I want to, I'll start with those and then wait for other people to ask. Actually, here's one that Alex is asking: what system do vaccines support?
Good question. The root system, because that's about the immune system. So usually it's the root system, because that's related to your, even your DNA and the adrenal glands and all of that, and your muscles and your bones and all of that.
Here's another one. How do you know how much specific foods to consume to support each system? They're saying this is a good information, but how can you apply it practically?
Right. So I would say, because it is a lot, it's a lot of information. So if you listen to this and you're like, oh, all of my systems are off, oh my goodness, just choose one thing to do. If you find, I always start, when I work with my clients, and all my clients, their root system is off. It's the root system, because that's the base, and it's always, and of course I attract what was off for me. My root system was off. Start with that system first. If you find that that is a system that is off, start with that one first and just do a little bit at a time. Take one thing. Okay, I'm going to focus on the food, and just do the food. And it's really just incorporating more of those foods in, if you find that your root system is fine and it's more your heart, then focus on your heart. But like I said, if it's all your systems, or if it includes your root, do the root first. It might not be the food. You might say, I'm fine with the food. Do an affirmation, do, a movement, but just take one thing and do that for a couple weeks and then add on other things.
Okay. What teas do you recommend for mental clarity and calmness?
Oh, that's a good one. So mental clarity, I would say ginkgo biloba is a really good one. There is an herb called, I'm blanking on it now, Baracoba. That is a good one. And I could send it, I can send that when they send out the things, but that also lemon balm, anything for your nervous system, because it helps you to be calm. It also helps for clarity, but it doesn't cause you to fall asleep. So lemon balm is another great, and that's an easy tea to get, as well as you can mix it with any type of the mints also help with mental clarity.
So this is a question that came in, and I wanted to ask you this question. It's a little bit long, but basically the question is about making a pretty big change. And so, as we're looking at these questions, this one is, I'm just going to try and pair here. I'm thinking of quitting my job that is on a desk job consulting career track and makes up the vast majority of income my wife and I make. And this is about, that this person is asking, should they sell their home and really follow the dream that they have of going to a developing country so they can devote more of their time to this big dream? And so, and they have this land that they've already purchased in another country. So the question is, one, or what they're saying is they'd like to leave the high stress world that they're in with their career, and they'd like to jumpstart that dream project. and make it into a reality. And the question is like, is this crazy? Is this nutty to imagine such a big shift? That's a big question. But
Yes, that is. I would say if you are able to do it financially, and because it sounds like they've done a lot. They've done a lot already of the things, and they're really feeling like they're able to do that financially. And they really, because a lot of that is really getting clear within yourself and really, and with your spouse, and if you both are in agreement and feel that's in alignment, and other people might think, oh, that's ridiculous, don't do this, don't do that. Create your own story. And if that story is what feels right and you're able to do it financially, then I would say go for it, but, it would be, really researching and everything. But if you're able to do it, which it sounds like you are, other people, there will be naysayers. But you know what I have found, even when people have naysayed me, when I am clear and I'm in alignment, or me and my, spouse are in alignment and we present like that, people actually are like, wow, they've done the research, they have everything, they're able to do it. And that naysayer might be like, well, I don't think you should, but hey, you seem like you know what you're going to do, and do it. So I hope that answers it.
all right, that's good advice. How do you deal with an extremely bad day when you're not feeling like doing anything?
Sometimes just honor yourself, and it's okay to just and not do anything. I mean, I think as a society, and I have found that I have felt very guilty, like resting. That was a 4-letter word that was bad to me. Rest. I got things to do at my to-do list. And so, and so it's like, just rest. If you find that you're doing it repeatedly, and I would also get to the root with it, but if it's just a bad day, look and see, like, okay, how am I responding to this? Am I eating? If I have a bad day, then I'm a munchie, then I'm eating more chips and everything, but I'm very conscious, like, okay, I'm eating this. But if you find that you are doing things to numb those feelings, then I would say, explore that more, get to the root of it. But if it's just one bad day, honor yourself and be like, you know what, this was a crappy day and I don't feel like doing anything, and it's okay. And so I'm just going to take some time to binge on Netflix, or I'm going to, it's mindfulness. I'm going to eat this and I know I am doing it. It's when we become less mindful and it becomes repeated that it might be an issue. But it's okay that one day you might not feel like doing it. If it becomes a pattern, then something else might be going on, and I would say get some support.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like, we use the word stress or anxiety a lot. We'll say, oh, I'm so stressed. I'm so stressed. And, if you take the time to kind of identify what that emotion really is, or what that feeling really is about, sometimes I feel like you get a little bit more information if you say, is it really stress, or is it you feel frustrated, or you feel sad, or you feel, sometimes just being able to name that emotion can kind of get you past it. But I agree with you. There's nothing wrong with sitting in it for a little bit.
Right.
So this is, we have about 5 minutes. It's gone by so fast. This one is, do you have any suggestion of condensed reading material which summarizes the connections you discussed, just to jog the memory in the future?
Yeah, if you actually, if you go to, and it'll be on the if you go to Deanna Minnick, her website, she has blogs on there. She also, in the references, which all of you will get the PowerPoint, I have references to a couple of her books. There's one called I have it right here, the whole detox. And it might sound like, wait a minute, what are we talking about? But actually she explains the 7 health systems. She talks about the imbalances and all of that stuff. And so this is a really great book to have as a reference, but you can also go to her website, and there's shorter than a whole reading that you can go to and look at.
We can share that in our follow-up email with people. Okay, we have time for one more question here. We're down to 4 minutes. I've just turned 50. You are a class of 1993, and I'm managing some health challenges plus questions about next steps in my career. Any advice for how to assess my wellness or lack thereof in each of the systems in any particular order? To address them in which kind of order, so that I don't take on too many fixes all at once.
Mm-hmm. I understand that. And 50, I turned 50 this year too. So, well, actually last year. So I'll be 51 this year. Again, start with the root and move up and focus on it. I would even say, like by month, like, okay, for January, I'm going to look at my root, and I'm going to look at what is out of balance. And you could just look back at these slides. You can go to Dr. Minnick's website. You can reach out to me. There is, I mean, when I work with people, I actually have them fill out a form that actually shows what health system is out of balance, you know, and how to work on that. But if you're doing it on your own, which you absolutely can, I would do it like, just work on the root first. And then once you feel like that is in balance, you'll be surprised. Sometimes there's this cascade effect that you work on the root and the sacral, and somehow the others just come in balance, and they really do, you know? And so, again, take it slow, you know, and start with the root and do that. And compassion towards yourself, because it's when you turn 50, like, things change, but compassion towards yourself, loving kindness towards yourself, and realize that all your now years of experience, you have that wisdom and that intuition. And I know what's helped me is really meditation and journaling each day, and just seeing what is going on with me and setting those, you know, intentions as I move towards the second half of life.
That's a great answer. So we are already out of time, and this has just been so amazing, Cassandra. I feel like there are a lot of nice comments, people thanking you in the chat, you know, for the presentation, saying that they're looking forward to making changes. I'd like to invite everybody here to join our mental health and wellness group on the Meliora Collective for more conversations around holistic and the holistic job search, or just the holistic journey. So please do join us on the Meliora Collective Mental Health and Wellness Group. And Cassandra, I hope that you will be there to answer more questions for people. We will be sending out the PowerPoint presentation. We'll also be sending out this video again, so you can watch it again and slow down the slides. There's just so much good stuff in there. So I hope everybody is inspired to take a look at what you're eating, what you're doing. I definitely have a lot of things that I'm going to put on my list to make changes. And Becky's putting in some links into the chat for people. Cassandra, thank you so much for this very generous and wonderful, very useful presentation. We really, I see Beth Fletcher saying, so proud to be you are RN graduate. So you can see the ones, and she's also put in Zest and Harmony counseling.com. That's Cassandra's website. So she's also one of our career coaches. So you can also find it in the career resources. So thank you, everybody. Cassandra, thank you. We look forward to the next one.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.